What up, guys? Dan from Dan's Auto Body. I got my new rookie here, Rich himself. And he brought me a bunch of junk parts.
Yep.
Hopefully I'm not hurting his feelings. And basically we're going to take advantage of that. And we're going to teach you guys to get to the paint process and get the parts painted. So you're going to be able to see what really is involved to get to that stage, which is not just quite scuff and paint it. We're going to show you the disassembly, we're going to show you the prepping, we're going to show you the prepping on the painting stage, and then the refinish itself. So there's a lot of info you're going to be getting throughout this video. So keep tuned and check it out. So I personally always use a Ziploc bag for each panel. It makes it easier for reassembly and not trying to figure it out, 5 different panels that have all the hardware mixed up. So we're basically just gonna start tackling this, take all the weather strip out, any of the seals on the side. We can probably start popping this out.
So for this, whenever you're done, how do we want to manage this interior part right here?
We're gonna study it. We're gonna see how we can tackle this section. So right off the bat, we can see this is the main support, right? We can see that this is the main support for here. And then we have 2 here. There's probably 2 right here on the side. So that alone should basically drop it.
Okay.
Alright, so we pretty much got all the screws around the door out. We got these 2 that were pretty stubborn. Usually heat works great as long as you have sheet metal overlapping the surface. You don't have any plastic in here. Apply a little heat, which is what we're going to do now. And 9 times out of 10 that works great. Do me a favor, don't try to take it out by hand, because you probably won't be able to use the fingertips for the next week. I think we're good. I think now it's just I'm going to need an extra hand to lift this up. It should slide out.
Later. There is still in the hole, so I don't lose them. But other than that, that's the only things I could take out. See? There you go. Next. Was that still being a pain?
You know what that is? That is actually the latch. So if we had pressed this from outside, it probably would have unlocked, because this is a latch mechanism. This is another latch mechanism.
There's 2 latches,
Yeah. So why don't we maybe flip it around so we're able to open.
Okay.
We're gonna go grease and wax removal first.
Okay.
Just remove most of the gunk. You know, some of the label stuff, it's really not going, full out, but we're
Yeah.
trying to do a nice job.
Right.
We may, take these out,
that out.
but once you clean it, then it's just like a scuff pad and knock them out.
So my question to you is this: why removing the inside? We just paint the outside.
No, we're gonna paint the inside too.
Why? No one's gonna see it.
Well, if you pop the hood, you don't want to have a white hood, number one.
I guess
So
you're right, yeah.
I guess that, if you're trying to achieve a better quality, it's just a no-brainer. It took us, maybe 10 minutes to get the whole inside cleaned up. Remove all the shield, remove the washer nozzles, which we would have had to tape on the outside.
Yep.
Which could have triggered eventually to just the paint stop peeling on the edges. So
okay,
it's
holding
more or
up.
less a no-brainer.
It's a cleaner job.
Cleaner job.
Okay.
Way better quality. And it's gonna last. All right, so we got the pieces disassembled. We got a bunch of parts right behind me. Now comes time to prep the surface so we can do the job properly. So we can see all the hardware is out, and we have a nice glossy finish. I'm going to use a red scuff pad, so it's basically aggressive enough to remove the gloss and have enough bite for the sealer and then paint to adhere. So I'm not using a gray scuff pad because we're not going to be applying clear coat, we're going to be applying base coat. So the gray scuff pad will do just that to have a nice bite for the new paint. So let's get at it. By the time I'm done, it will be nice and dull and no gloss. There is a little bit of crap in here, so we're just gonna spray this. We just kind of soften that up. The main radiator support has a bunch of grease. You can see right here, which would not be good for paint. So what we're gonna start tackling that first.
All right.
We're gonna go
So let me get it straight. Grease bad for paint, right?
extremely bad.
Awesome. Good.
Greasy environment, extremely bad. The WD-40. So if you're painting something by a mechanic area, you gotta be really watching out for some of that stuff. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just spray this. Move it up. I got the Degreasing wax remover on. I'm not even gonna scuff it yet. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a rag and then just kind of remove the excess first. It's in there pretty good, so I'm gonna have to just use a scuff pad. But once I clean this up, I'm gonna toss this out because it's gonna be very contaminated.
Yeah, the paint's starting to come off a little bit too.
Yeah, because radiator support for factory,
Paint
They-
isn't that thick, right?
they don't apply enough paint. I mean, they try to be the cheapest way possible, so they usually just spray the base coat.
Right.
They never go as far as getting clear coat. So what you have on the radiator support or jam apron section is just leftover paint. This is yours. That's the Degreasing wax remover. And I'll stop banging this one out.
All right, let's do it.
So I got the plastic pretty much prepped. We already went ahead, scuffed the whole surface, and once we scuffed, we degreased again for the second time because it was pretty greasy. So now that it's scuffed, we can move on to the other parts, which is probably going to be a lot longer than just this piece alone. But on the other hand, we're going to use the Orbital sander. In other words, for the DA. All right, so I got this adhesive remover. It's worth the money. It's about $500 for a new one of these. I'm not gonna talk about the brand, but it works great. More or less, it helps us remove the double-sided tape that's on the surface, because if you try to use the standard Degreasing wax remover, it's not gonna work into that thickness. Now, if you have just a little bit, like we did in this section, it's gonna actually clean out pretty well, because we've already taken the excess out. So you can just scrape it off by hand afterwards. So what you do, now keep in mind, do not use this on a plastic surface, do not use this on a fiberglass surface, only use this on a metal surface or aluminum surface because this is going to heat up the surface a lot. You want to keep moving this back and forth so you don't remove the existing paint if you're just trying to clean the surface and not repaint it. The surface is already clean. We've already degreased the surface, and I hit it lightly with a red scuff pad, only to just take some of the build-off that was on the door. I got myself here DA. If you don't have one of these, too bad. It's gonna take you forever to prep the part. If you do, then you're gonna save yourself a ton of time and money. So I've got a 320 grit sandpaper, and the reason why I'm going with a 320 is because we're gonna be painting the whole surface with a new paint. And because of that, we want to have enough fight for the paint itself. So you always want to go back to the good foundation and good grip so it can last and it can hold up. So the 320 is going to allow us to put the sealer, the paint, and the clear coat and really bite the surface, clean everything from the surface that we have now. There is a few minor imperfections as far as indent. We're not going to tackle them because the door on the outside here overlaps that. You probably won't even see it. But other than that, we're gonna hit it with the DA right now and get it knocked out. So, are you Rich?
Well, I'm gonna do it.
Have you ever used it before?
No.
So, as you put your palm here, this is the trigger. Okay. It's just gonna allow you to regulate how much speed you want to put into the surface.
I got that.
I've already adjusted to a medium rotation.
So I won't burn right through it.
Well, it won't really matter if you burn through it.
Right.
Because we're gonna be repainting the surface. The only thing you don't want is to put too much force into the edge,
Yeah.
which is going to create an indent into the paint. You won't see that once we paint, so you just want to leave it nice and flat.
Right.
You start here from the corner.
Yeah.
And
Do I have to go
hold
to
it
circular
down.
motion or just kind of
Nope.
hold it down and move
It
around?
would, the Orbital South would actually already do that, all that for you.
Okay, perfect. All right. Let's be lucky.
This is an interface pad, which because it's, you know, half an inch thick and flexible, it would level itself out to the existing surface. Take the sandpaper out. So we're gonna do the same thing you were doing.
Yep.
But I think you're gonna see
A difference?
a good difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh. Crap, yeah. So you might be questioning why we are sanding again by hand. So the first time when we used a scuff pad, it was mainly to just clean the surface because you had so much buildup. The sander, you're able to sand the main surface area, but you're not really able to get all the edges. Realistically, if you have any paint lifting, most likely it will be through the edges. So if this paint ever fails, that's because this guy has to go.
All right. All the parts are prepped. Are we almost done? What is next?
Probably have 5 hours left.
Okay.
So hopefully you brought lunch. So all the prepping is done. We
Right.
cleaned all the parts, which probably took us an additional hour. Everything is disassembled. Now we've already pressure washed some of the parts to clean them thoroughly. Now we're just gonna get them in the spray booth.
Yep.
And we're gonna get it cranking on paint.
Okay. All right.
So